Welcome to Clinical Labs. You're about to start work with one of Australia's largest providers of pathology services. It's important that you have a good general understanding of the company and how it works. We hope this video helps explain the overall pathology process and shows how your new role fits. Before we step you through the key activities that make our business work, let's have a look at some high-level stats about Clinical Labs. We currently operate in Victoria, New South Wales, Western Australia, South Australia and the Northern Territory. Our main national lab is in Clayton, Victoria, and we have labs in metro and regional areas and in hospitals. Over 3,800 people, including 90 pathologists, work here. Pathologists are doctors who have completed years of additional specialist training to become experts in pathology. Every year, our lab conducts tests on around 7.6 million patient episodes, which are tests and analysis of pathology samples. That's around 30,000 a day. We manage over 900 collection centres and around 400 courier vehicles. We service more than 90 private and public hospitals, making Clinical Labs the largest provider of pathology services to public hospitals in Australia. We offer the following services to doctors, patients and corporate clients: all routine pathology tests, genetic testing, first trimester screening and non-invasive prenatal testing, chemical pathology, hematology, histopathology, immunology, serology and microbiology, functional pathology, commercial drug and alcohol testing. Impressive, isn't it? So, what really happens when a doctor orders a pathology test for a patient? Most people have no idea, but what I do know is that it's a fast and complex process. Over the next few minutes, we'll introduce you to the main steps involved in getting a sample collected, tested, analysed, and the results back to the doctor. So let's see what happens when patient Philip wakes up feeling unwell and goes to the doctor for help. Here's Mr. Hill. He's just arrived at the Clinical Labs Collection Centre.
Good morning, my name's Malika. I'll be taking your blood today.
Yep.
Come in and take a seat.
Our collection staff play an enormously important role in the business. They deal with sick people and sometimes scared people every day. They have to make sure that the patient is properly identified and their samples are correctly labelled and barcoded. If they get any aspect of this wrong, it will impact every other step in the process, and that can have serious consequences for patients like Mr. Hill. Collectors need to check the doctor's request form carefully and be sure to confirm the patient's name is spelled right, the date of birth and Medicare number are correct on the form and on the samples. Then they have to collect the right tubes to ensure the test can be performed. Each tube colour has a different preservative that affects the quality of the results. There's a lot to get right. Now that the samples are taken, the collector informs Mr. Hill that depending on how many tests are conducted and what is found, his blood sample results and an interim result for the urine should be back in a day. The full result for the urine sample will be available in 2 days, and if they find anything, the doctor will call them to make another appointment. Our collector still has a number of important tasks to carry out before she can see the next patient. The blood samples must be spun in the centrifuge to help keep it fresh and viable for testing. The tubes are then sorted and bagged into groups of urgent and routine tests. The doctor's request form is now scanned into the huge system, which is used by our data entry team. As soon as it's scanned, our data entry people transfer the relevant details from the form into our lab system. It's called Ultra, and it tells the lab the number and type of samples that are on the way for testing. If the form isn't scanned by the collector, the test will be delayed as the analysers don't know what to do until data entry has been performed. We must have a record of the doctor's referral in our lab system, or we are not allowed to do the tests. If an unscanned form doesn't get to the lab, you can imagine the knock-on effect this mistake creates for our pathologist and the patient. When it happens, we have to get the patient back in for more samples and start all over again. At Clinical Labs, we will always put the patient's needs first. We will work carefully to avoid samples being delayed, spoiled, or lost. Our patients rely on us to get it right, and it's never nice asking a patient to come back in to give another sample. We hope you enjoyed learning more about our work at Clinical Labs. We've used simple tests in this video to introduce what we do, but it's really important to remember, we also test for a range of sensitive health conditions and serious illnesses. Our work has the potential to have a huge impact on our patients' lives, and that's the main reason why we must focus on getting our work right the first time. We play such an important role in our community, and we hope you'll be proud to put patient care first in everything you do at Clinical Labs.